In this video, we will be discussing a few proof type questions from trigonometry, and this is actually the part 2 of this video series. And in the part 1, I had solved the first 20 questions from the miscellaneous exercise of chapter 3 Maths part 1 Government Textbook 11 Standard. So in case if you haven't referred that video or you want to refer that video, I have left a link for that video in the description box below. Let's continue with the questions in this video. On the left hand side, if you start simplifying, it's a tan cube x, which we can write as sin cube x upon cos cube x. And in the denominator, it is 1 plus tan square x, which is sec square x. So that sec square x in the denominator can be written as cos square x in the numerator. That is your first term. And the second term will be cot cube x. So that would be cos cube x upon sin cube x. And in the denominator, you have 1 plus cot square x, which is cosec square x. And that can be written as into sin square x in the numerator. So cos square and cos cube get cancelled here, sin square and sin cube get cancelled here, and we are finally left with sin cube x upon cos x plus cos cube x upon sin x. If we just add them like we are adding fractions, that is basically by cross multiplying in the numerator and multiplying the two denominators to get the common denominator. So we can say that the entire expression is sin power 4x plus cos power 4x divided by cos x into sin x. We can add 2 sin square x cos square x and subtract 2 sin square x cos square x in the numerator, and that would make the first 3 terms. The first 3 terms are actually the expansion of sin square x plus cos square x the whole square. But sin square x plus cos square x will be equal to 1, the square of which will also be 1. So in the numerator, we have 1 minus 2 sin square x cos square x. And when we split the two terms now, the first term would be 1 upon sin x cos x, which is basically cosec x into sec x. And the second term will be minus 2. Sin square x cos square x upon sin x cos x will make it 2 sin x into cos x. And that's what we have on our right hand side. Okay, so that's how we are solving our 21st question, and we go ahead with the 22nd question now. On the left hand side, sin 20, sin 40 and sin 80. So what we can do is we can multiply and divide with half. So half into 2 sin 40, sin 20 sin 40, and let that sin 80 remain outside. This would be half into sin A sin B, 2 sin A sin B. That would be cos of A minus B minus of cos A plus B. So this would be cos of 20 minus 40, that is cos of minus 20. But cos of minus theta and cos theta are the same, so this would be cos 20 minus cos of A plus B, that is minus cos of 20 plus 40, that is cos 60 into sin 80. This would be half, and we can now take that sin 80 inside the bracket. So when sin 80 goes inside the bracket, we have half cos 20 sin 80 minus sin 80 the whole divided by 2. So we can multiply and divide with a 2 the first term also, and 2 times, think of it as 2 sin 80 cos 20. So 2 sin A cos B, that would be sin of A plus B, that is sin of 80 plus 20, which is sin 100, plus sin of A minus B, that is sin of 80 minus 20, which is sin 60. Sin 100, that can be written as 100, right? Sin 100 is what we can write as 180 minus 80, and sin of 180 minus theta is sin theta. So sin of 180 minus 80 will be sin 80 only. If we split the two terms, it would be sin 80 by 2 plus sin 60 by 2. Sin 80 by 2 gets cancelled, and we are finally left with sin 60 by 2. Sin 60 is root 3 by 2 and divided by 2. So this would be 4. And 4 into root 3 by 2, that would give us, 1 upon 4 into root 3 by 2, that would give us root 3 upon root 3 by 2. That would give us root 3 upon 8, exactly the way we wanted it on our right hand side. So that is how we are proving the 22nd question, and we go ahead with the 23rd and 24th question together. Actually, the 25th question is also in the same flow, where we need to find sin 36. So sin 18, the way you can find sin 18 is you can actually take theta as 18. Now if you know that theta is 18, 5 theta would be 90. If 5 theta would be 90, you can say that 3 theta plus 2 theta is equal to 90. you can take this 3 theta on the right. If you want, you can take even 2 theta on the right. But there's one thing you need to be careful about while you are going ahead with this derivation. 2 theta is what 90 minus 3 theta is going to be. Now, you need to ensure that you need to bring a sine to theta. Okay, so I will be taking a sine on both the sides. So we have sine 2 theta as sine of 90 minus 3 theta. Okay, if you are taking 2 theta on the right, make sure to see that you are taking a cos on both the sides. Ultimately, you have to bring a sine 2 theta expression for yourself. On the left, it would be 2 sine theta cos theta. And on the right, sine of 90 minus 3 theta would be cos 3 theta. And cos 3 theta, the expansion for it is 4 cos cube theta minus 3 cos theta. So now, if you realize, you can pull out a cos common from here. And that cos gets cancelled with the cos here. So this would be square. And this cos gets cancelled. So we finally have 2 sine theta is 4 cos square theta minus 3. And cos square theta can further be written as 1 minus sine square theta. Okay, so this becomes 4 minus 4 sine square theta. And take everything on the left. So that would be 4 sine square theta plus 2 sine theta. 4 minus 3 would be plus 1. And when that plus 1 goes on the left, it would be minus 1. Okay, so ultimately we have a quadratic in terms of sine theta. Keep in mind theta was 18 degrees. Okay, so the quadratic that we just got, if we apply the quadratic formula to get the value of sine theta, we will have sine theta as minus b, that is minus 2 plus minus root over b square, means that would be 4 minus 4ac. So that would be minus 4 into minus 1, and that would make it plus 16. The whole thing divided by 2a, that will be equal to 8. This would be 20, and 20 can be written as 4 into 5. Root 4 will be 2, so that 2 goes out and we get a 2 root 5 here. 2 gets cancelled in the numerator and denominator, so we have minus 1 plus root 5 the whole divided by 4 as the value of sine 18 degrees. Okay, but you need to be careful. Sine 18 degrees is an angle in the first quadrant, so sine theta will be positive. So you cannot take a minus sign here, because if you take minus 1 minus root 5, then that value would turn out to be negative. So sine 18 is minus 1 plus root 5 the whole divided by 4, or root 5 minus 1 the whole divided by 4. That is how we are finding sine 18. And once you know the value of sine 18, you can easily find cos 36. So to find cos 36, let's just write it on a different page. Cos 36 and sine 36, we will find them together. Cos 36 degrees, that would be 1 minus 2 sine square 18. So this will be 1 minus 2. Sine of 18 degrees, we just got it as root 5 minus 1 the whole divided by 4. And we need to square this. So this will be 1 minus 2. 5 minus 2 root 5 plus 1 the whole divided by 16. 5 plus 1 would be 6. You can pull out a 2 common and cancel it with a 2 in the denominator, giving you an 8 here. And here it would be 3 minus root 5. This 2 gets cancelled with the 8 here, giving you a 4. And then the entire bracket when combined, like 1 minus this entire bracket, that would be 4 minus 3. And when you open the bracket here, that would be a plus. And divided by, we have a 4. So this 4 minus 3 would give you a 1. And that is the value of cos 36. That is cos 36 degrees is equal to 1 plus root 5 the whole divided by 4. Okay, that is how we are proving the 24th question. And now you need sine 36. Now to find sine 36, all you need to do is write that sine 36 as root over 1 minus cos square 36. Now cos square 36 means the square of root 5 plus 1 divided by 4. We just got that value right here. So when we square this entire thing, we get 5 plus 2 root 5 plus 1 the whole divided by 16. 5 plus 1 would be equal to 6, and when you take a 2 common, it would be 3 plus root 5. Cancel off that 2 with the 16 here and you have an 8 here. This would be root over 8 minus 3 minus root 5 the whole divided by 8. So 8 minus 3 would be 5, and we wanted a 4 outside. So that should give us a 16 in the denominator. Let's multiply the numerator and denominator with 2 in that case. So that would give us 10 minus 2 root 5 in the numerator 16 in the denominator, the root of which will be equal to 4. So we have root of this entire thing divided by 4, and that is how we are proving that the value of sine 36 will be this entire thing. Okay, so that's how we can find the values of cos 18, sine 36 and cos 36. Moving on, sine pi upon 8. Pi upon 8 you need to understand that is half of pi by 4. So cos of pi by 4, we all know this will be 1 by root 2, and from here itself we can evaluate both these terms. Okay, so we can say that cos pi by 4 is 1 by root 2. So 1 minus 2 sine square pi upon 8. I've used simply the half angle formula, is 1 upon root 2, and 2 sine square pi upon 8. I am taking this term on the right and this term on the left. So that would be 1 minus 1 upon root 2. This becomes root 2 minus 1 the whole divided by root 2. Take this 2 on the right and take a root. So you have the value of sine pi upon 8 as root 2 minus 1 upon 2 root 2 and the root of it. Okay, they have written it in a slightly different manner. So what we can do is we can multiply the numerator and denominator with root 2. So that would give us, in the numerator it would be root over root 2 into root 2, which is 2, minus root 2, the whole divided by 2 into root 2 into root 2, that's like 2 into 2, which is 4, and the root of it will be equal to 2. So that's the final value of sine of pi upon 8. And if we know sine pi upon 8, then in a similar way we can find cos pi upon 8 also. That is, instead of writing this expansion here as 1 minus 2 sine square pi upon 8, we could have written it as 2 cos square pi upon 8 minus 1 equal to 1 by root 2. Take that minus 1 on the right, it will be 1 by root 2 plus 1. It will be 1 plus root 2, the whole divided by root 2. Take that 2 on the right. So it will be a 2 root 2 here, and finally take a root. So this is the value of cos pi upon 8. Okay. You can multiply the numerator and denominator here as well with root 2. So into root 2 and upon root 2. That would give you a 4 in the denominator, which would make it a 2 in the denominator. And when you expand this bracket, it would give you root 2 plus root 2 into root 2, that is root 2 plus 2. Okay, so that's the value of cos of pi upon 8. And now when we try to find tan pi upon 8, that would be sin pi upon 8 divided by cos pi upon 8. This was sin pi upon 8 and we are dividing it with this value. So the 2 in the denominators would get cancelled and we would be left with root over 2 minus root 2 divided by 2 plus root 2. And we can easily rationalize this. Rationalize means we can multiply it with 2 minus root 2 divided by 2 minus root 2. Or you can even take it as plus, it is entirely up to you. So this would give us, in the numerator it would be 2 minus root 2 the whole square, the root of which will be 2 minus root 2. And in the denominator it will be 4 minus 2 which is equal to 2, and there's this main root which is going to remain. So in the denominator it will be root 2. If you split the terms, it is 2 by root 2 which is root 2 minus root 2 by root 2 which is 1, and that's how we are getting the answer for our 27th question. Let's go ahead with question number 28. And for solving question number 28, there is a result that you should be knowing. The result says that tan theta into tan of 60 plus theta into tan of 60 minus theta is basically equal to tan 3 theta. Now this is actually a combination of two results that you might have learned earlier. The two results are sin A, or you can say sin theta, sin 60 plus theta into sin of 60 minus theta. And if you have the same formula or the same expression with cos, then the value of the entire expression with sin is 1/4 of sin 3 theta. With cos, it is 1/4 of cos 3 theta. If you divide, if this is equation 1 and this is equation 2, when you divide equation 1 and equation 2, you get this entire result. So this result, the one which I have written in white, is the one that we will be using for solving this particular question. So what we can do is, in that very expression that I have just written, Let's substitute the value of theta as 6. So when we put theta as 6, we have tan 6 into tan 66 into tan 54 is equals to tan of 3 into 6, which is equal to tan 18. In a similar way, try putting theta as 18. So when you do that, you have tan 18 into tan of 60 plus 18, which is 78, into tan of 60 minus 18, which is what? 42. That is equal to tan of 3 into 18, which is equal to 54. This is equation 1, this is equation 2. You can multiply the two equations. So when you multiply the two equations, then on the left hand side you will have tan 6 into tan 66 into tan 54 into tan 18 into tan 78 into tan 42. That will be equal to tan 18 into tan 54 on the right hand side. Tan 54 and tan 18 get cancelled. The value of the entire leftover expression is then equal to 1. So that's how we are solving the 28th question. Moving on with the 29th one. We can just apply the formula of sin c plus sin d. So that would be 2 sin c plus d divided by 2. That is 108 upon 2, which is equal to 54. Into cos of 47 minus 61 divided by 2. That is minus 14 upon 2, which is equal to minus 7. But cos of minus 7 or cos 7 means one and the same thing. And that is why I am writing it as cos 7. You can pull out a minus common from here and write it as sine of 11 plus 25. So we have minus 2 sine of 11 plus 25 upon 2, that is 36 upon 2, which is 18. And into cos 11 minus 25 upon 2, that is minus 14 upon 2, that is minus 7. But again, cos 7 and cos of minus 7 are the same. So we are writing cos of minus 7 as cos 7. We can pull out a 2 cos 7 common from here. And in the bracket, we will have sine 54 minus sine 18. Again, apply the formula sine 54 minus sine 18. That would be 2 cos 54 plus 18, the whole divided by 2. That would be 2 cos 36 into sine of 54 minus 18, the whole divided by 2. That is 2 sine 18. So we have 2 cos 7. It's important over here to remember the value of sine 18, because only by knowing that you will be able to proceed in this question. Cos 36, the value was root 5 plus 1, the whole divided by 4. And sine 18 was root 5 minus 1, the whole divided by 4. Now when you multiply them, these two are expressions of the type a plus b into a minus b. So in the numerator, that would be 5 minus 1, which is equal to 4. That 4 gets cancelled up and down. This 2 gets cancelled with the 4 here, and this 2 cancels off this 2 here. And the final value that we are left with is cos 7. That's how we are proving our 29th question. Moving on with number 30. On the left hand side, we have root 3 cosec 20, that is root 3 upon sine 20 minus 1 upon cos 20. Sec 20 is 1 upon cos 20. You can just combine the two terms and write them as root 3 cos 20 minus sine 20, the whole divided by sine 20 cos 20. And we will multiply the numerator and denominator with 2. Or let's say we are dividing the numerator and denominator with 2. Okay. So here we have, write it as half into sine 20. Root 3 upon 2 can be written as, should we write that as cos 30? Let's try that. Cos 30, so cos pi by 6. This would be sine 30 sine pi by 6. Into sine of 20 is what we have. So in the numerator, we have the expansion of cos a cos b minus sine a sine b. That would be cos of a plus b. So this would be cos of 30 degrees plus 20 degrees. And in the denominator, we have sine theta sine 20 cos 20, the whole divided by 2. So this becomes cos of 50 degrees divided by, let's write a 2 here and a 2 here. So into 2 and upon 2. 2 sine 20 cos 20, that would be cos 40 degrees. Sine 40 degrees. And the whole divided by 4. That 4 goes to the numerator and makes a 4 here. Now cos 50 can be written as cos of 90 minus 40, and 90 minus 40, cos of 90 minus 40 is sine 40. Sine 40 gets cancelled, giving you a 4 right here. So that's how we can solve the 30th question. Let's go ahead with the 31st question. It tells you that in triangle ABC, angle C is 2 pi by 3 which is basically 120 degrees. So you know that a plus b will be 60 degrees. So this is what we already know. We have to prove that this entire thing will be equal to 3 by 4. So begin with the left hand side only. In fact, there's no need to begin with the left hand side. We can begin with this result itself. So we can take a cosine on both the sides. So we can have cos of a plus b as cos of 60, which is equal to half. And cos of a plus b would be cos a cos b minus sin a sin b. Take that half on the left and sin a sin b on the right. And we can now square the two sides. On squaring the left hand side, we have cos square a into cos square b. Then we have minus 2 into half into cos a cos b. So simply minus cos a cos b. Plus we have 1 by 4. That should be on the right hand side. It is sin square a into sin square b. But we can think of sin square a as 1 minus cos square a into 1 minus cos square b. And when you expand the terms, you get 1 minus cos square a minus cos square b plus cos square a into cos square b. Okay. So cos square b gets cancelled on the left and right. And now you can take minus cos square a minus cos square b on the left and 1 by 4 on the right. So that should give you cos square a plus cos square b minus cos a cos b equal to, on the right it will be 1 minus 1 upon 4, and that is equal to 3 upon 4. That's how we are proving the 31st question. And yeah, this is where I'm done with whatever I wanted to cover in this video. I hope that whatever I've discussed in this video has been someplace somewhere helpful to you in your preparations. Thank you for watching.